I'm joined by the one and only Jamie Jones Buchanan here at the Everyman Cinema in the centre of Leeds for the premiere of...
As Good As It Gets.
I'm joined by Jamie. Jamie, tell us a bit about why you wanted to get involved with this movie.
Because when you go on a journey with a group of lads who become a huge part of your life, you want to share that with the world and some of the lessons that you learn from that journey. And certainly, obviously in sport, it's all about the smiles, the silverware, the tribulation and the trials and the adversity that goes with it. And sometimes there's a lot goes on behind the scenes that people don't always appreciate or understand. You know, there's always a talk a lot about hard work and sacrifices, but there's some real pain in there, there's some real challenges, there's some real emotional intelligence that is needed by players in one of the toughest sports in the world. And I just thought it'd be amazing to be able to share the journey that me and some of my best friends in the whole world have been on in the last sort of 15-20 years and try and document that on the big screen. And you know, by God's grace and by the faith of the fans, the players, City Talking, Lee Aiken, EB Works, we've been fortunate to pull all the ingredients together and make that happen, and it's manifested itself into As Good As It Gets.
So as you've said, there's a lot of personal, up close and personal, intimate parts within the film revealed without giving away too much. How do you think that's going to appeal to other audiences other than rugby league fans?
Well, the goal for me is for everybody in rugby league to start telling their own rugby league stories. I keep saying life's a narrative and human beings are only animals on the planet tell stories. I've said it a million times and I'll keep saying it because it's true. And rugby league doesn't tell enough stories. It always talks about the league system and the playoff structure, and that's all a big part of it, obviously. But for me, people enjoy listening to stories. They like hearing about other people's challenges, particularly when there's adversity, because I think the challenges that we face as professional sports people, men and women, transcend through any sport, you know, and so anybody can learn from it, and I think people can be really encouraged. And quite recently Eddie Hearn said he didn't know any rugby league players, and I can understand that because we don't shout from the rooftops, from the hills about what we do. But this is an opportunity, As Good As It Gets, to say, look, you know, in rugby league we can tell stories. I hope Wigan tell their stories about how good their team's been in rugby league in the 80s. I hope somebody will pick up the 1968 Water Splash final and talk about the greatest iconic Challenge Cup final in rugby league history, and hopefully the people will rally round after this film. They'll be able to prove that we can do something really good. It's a bit of a proof of concept, if you like, a case study, and we'll make more of them, Roxy.
Well, for those people at home that haven't seen the film, here's a little treat for you. Here's a clip of the trailer.
And I always say, this might be as good as it gets, fellas.
I thought, you know what, I'm in LA.
Not many people knew, but I had problems. He said, that's me. I said, whoa, what do you mean that's you? He said, that's me, I'm gone.
What's next? You know, but what comes next for me? Where do I go?
He went, Brian, this is the biggest decision this club's ever faced.
I'm joined by Mitch Garbutt. Mitch, how many games were you in before achieving the treble win?
I played in 14 games before I got to win the treble, so yeah, I was really lucky.
So only 14 and then you won the treble. How special was that?
Yeah, honestly, it was unbelievable. Some people say I just hung on to the coattails of the boys that were there, but yeah, you know, it's something that I'm really proud about.
And what are you most expecting from this movie, which is obviously covering a lot of that time when you won the treble?
You know what, I've honestly got no idea what to expect. It's been kept under wraps. Jonesy's done a great job of not letting too many people know what's going on, so yeah, it's pretty exciting.
Well, go enjoy it. I won't keep you too long. Thank you very much.
No worries, thank you.
Well, I think you see, it's not plain sailing winning the treble. It's not it's not all nice. It's rainbows and unicorns. There's some hard work behind there, and a lot of people get put out, and a lot of sacrifices are made, and hopefully that'll show on the screen.
So Jordan, you've grown up wanting to be a Leeds Rhino, you've been a South stander, you were part of the golden decade when you saw the treble being won. How does it feel knowing that you were able to go from being a fan to actually playing alongside the likes of Kevin Sinfield, Danny Maguire?
Really surreal, you know, as a young kid sat on the wall as it was back then, and with my mum and dad behind me supporting the lads, and you know, watching the likes of Jamie Peacock, Kevin Sinfield, Rob Burrow, Danny Maguire, and you know, wanting to be out there one day with them, and then finally being able to do it. It was obviously an honour for myself, but for my mum and dad and my brother and that, looking on, it was a real honour for them to see me playing with some of them. And I remember in the Huddersfield game, when they got the league leaders in the final seconds, and I were on the bench and I didn't quite get on that game. But it didn't matter to me. It was just being there and being a part of something that was so special. You know, I'll remember forever.
So obviously you had aspirations to become a rugby player. Did you ever think that you'd be coming to watch a movie about it?
No, but I think that it's something that's needed to happen for a long time. It's obviously not just for the season they had in 2015 and winning the treble. It's for rugby league in general, and to broadcast that across the world and show what a great game we've got here. And you know, I think it's a great thing they're doing here, and hopefully it can spread worldwide and get it out there about rugby league. And what are you expecting from the film? I don't know really. I think there's going to be some moments that none of us knew about, and some of the things that were kept secret and we never got told, and maybe about some of the players and what they were going through at the time. And you know, I'm really excited to see it as a rugby league fan, not just a Leeds Rhinos player. I'm a rugby league fan as well, so I'm really excited to watch it and see what comes of it.
Well, I just think it's probably testament to Lee and Jamie and Alex who've really driven this to get it where it is tonight. To turn up and see this and to think that, you know, a rugby league team have been the story behind this is pretty special. So those three need to take all the plaudits on this and all the accolades. And yeah, like I said, I'm not quite sure what to expect, but we'll give it a go.
So Rob, in the movie you talk a bit up close and personal and say a few things close to the bone. How did you feel about saying those things in the interview for the film? Were you happy to share them? Yeah,
I mean, it's probably like in life, you're just honest, ain't it? You know, you've got to be honest, and you've got to be a real honest player and person in rugby league. So, you know, most people see what happens in the games and that's it, but there's a lot what goes on behind the scenes which people don't know about. So, you know, the fact that the movie shows, you know, elements of that, I'm sure it'd be a great watch. And have you actually seen the movie before it was made? No, do you remember what you said? No, I can't. No, I can't at all, if I'm honest. And we all did it at different locations and different times, so yeah. I'm pretty sure, apart from Jamie, who will have seen it all, but before tonight, I've not seen any bit of it now. So, what reaction do you think the fans are going to give you? I think the fans will love it. I think it's interesting, and the Leeds fans are great anyway. But for them to really go behind the scenes and see what it really is like, and not what it's like when you're lifting trophies. I mean, obviously there's a lot of groundwork that goes in, which and a lot of ugly stuff, which, you know, people don't usually see. Yeah, that's right. So it's. I think the fact that people will see things that they've never seen before will be really interesting, not only to, you know, the rugby league fans and Rhinos fans, but, you know, people of sport. And what did you want to get across to those fans that have supported you every week, coming to see you? What did you want to say to them? Well, I mean, that was a big year for the team, and when we say the team, we mean the fans as well, because you know, without the support of the Leeds Rhinos fans, and I can be biased, but they're the best, you know, rugby league fans in the world, so they played the massive part in us. You know, certainly the game at Huddersfield, you know, their atmosphere they brought was massive and an integral part of what we did. So for them to be able to see what happens behind closed doors when things aren't all rosy, I'm sure it'll be a real insight for them and a real interesting watch. And obviously you've spoken a lot about the things that maybe didn't go as planned or things that weren't always a high. What was your biggest high when winning the treble? Do you know what? It's only when you kind of look back of it now that you realise it happened. You know, I'm lucky enough to have won quite a few things at Leeds. It's a good one because every you know, the 3 things we did win that year was great. The grand final at Wigan, realising that he'd done it was an amazing feeling. But one, there's more nostalgia now you look back at it, and now I've finished even more so that I'll never win another trophy playing. It's even more special. You're still a legend there. Well, I'll never win another trophy, you know, but no, but looking back it was great, and the way the modern day rugby league is, it quite possibly never be done again, so extra special. Well, we'll let you go watch the movie. I hope you enjoy it, and thank you so much, Rob.